You know, in the comments section, a lot of you people have asked me to talk about some of the tools that I like to use and what some of my favorite tools are. Well, if I was to put it all into a single video, I think it would be far too long. So I'm going to break it out and just talk about one tool at a time. So I think what I'll do is I'm going to start off with one of my most used tools, which are the hand pruners. And this is probably a tool that I use every single day, and sometimes I use it for hours and hours on end. There's a lot of different brands that are good. You know, Corona's got a good one. This happens to be a Felco number 2. It's about $60 here in the States. It's made out of aluminum. Good tool. They last for years. Usually I lose them before I break them. But the truth be known is, you know, no matter what kind of hand pruners you use, the key is keeping them sharp. You know, this one right here, if you look really close to the edge, let's see if I can see it up close here. On this side, well, that's not bad. And that edge right there, it's not bad. But when I touch it, if I touch it with my thumb, that's really how you can tell whether your tools are sharp. You know, you don't want to go this way, but if you pull back on it, you can feel if it grabs a little bit of skin, and it's not sharp. And when you pull up on the back side, there is not a burr, and it's actually kind of rounding over just a hair. And if you can feel it with your fingers, then it's dull. You know, a good sharp hand pruner makes all the difference in the world. And you know, this is the blade side, and this is the anvil side. And the anvil side, you want this to be a nice crisp edge as well. And you sharpen this one with a flat file, and you sharpen this side with a round file. You can do it with a chainsaw file. You want to come this way. You want to work out with it so that it's nice and clean all the way up. But you have to be careful not to let any burrs develop on there either. So I buy these flat files by the case, and you can use one of these flat files 3 or 4 times before they get dull, and then when they get dull, you just chuck them. You know, they're disposable. They're just a couple bucks a piece if you buy them in quantity. I think maybe $3 a piece now. They used to be about $1, but now they're about $3. But you know, use the flat edge of it to scrape off all the gunk that's on here, and both sides, clean off everything. And then I can't really do it and hold the camera at the same time, but basically I just kind of hold it between my knees, and then I work the sharpening with 2 hands, of course, all the way out, all the way down to the edge. And you want to sharpen all the way up to the very tip, because believe it or not, this little point right here does an awful lot of the sharpening, or the cutting. That little point is the last thing that runs through. And this anvil on this one is still pretty sharp. I can put a couple of chainsaw file strokes on this to make this edge and this edge crisp. So if you've got a round surface here and a sharp surface here, it'll cut better, but once it drags it, that little bit of a round over there will sometimes drag some fibers of the wood through. And some kinds of wood, like, you know, today we're working on Chinese elm, and that's a really stringy wood. If you don't have a super sharp cut, then those little tiny strings are going to hang you up every single time. You know, another really important aspect of sharpening these tools is to check the gap. See right there, it looks like there's a gap, but as soon as I close it, you don't see any light through there. If the blade gets bent even just a little bit on hand pruners or on a pole pruner, that little gap, which it appears there's one, but look, it's tight as can be. That little gap will cause the little bits of bark or stringy bits of the wood to hang up every single time. So you want a nice, crisp, clean, through cut. Great tool, hand pruners. Can't recommend the Felcos enough.